goes on. Ow, son of a bitch! God damn you!
You know, every so often a show comes along that's so outlandish, so ridiculous, and so wonderfully batshit crazy that it crosses some magical threshold in your mind to become absolutely captivating. And before you know it, you're ploughing through episodes quicker than I plough through cans of low quality lager. Seriously, don't drink Tenants anytime soon, it's the devil's piss. You'll be desperate to reach the next insane plot twist and discover where the hell this confused tale is leading, while simultaneously dreading the end because you know you won't have any more to look forward to. Such is the case with Tiger King, probably the most compelling and addictive documentary I've watched since Making a Murderer, a show that's worth watching just to appreciate the glorious memes that are currently doing the rounds on social media. So what the hell is it? Why is everyone currently obsessing over it? And did Carol Baskin really murder her husband and feed him to a tiger so she could inherit his millions? Well, I'll do my level best to illuminate you. Tiger King is set in the murky world of American big cat collectors, conservationists, and exotic animal zoos, shedding light on dodgy practices like illegal breeding, animal cruelty, dangerous exhibitions, and staff exploitation. Now, you might be thinking this all sounds well and good, but it's not exactly compelling viewing. What makes Tiger King so special? Then in steps this absolute legend. This individual is Joe Exotic, a man with a very unique sense of style. It's like being at a Scottish wedding in the 1980s, man. And the flamboyant owner of a big cat sanctuary in Oklahoma. It's fair to say he lives a pretty unconventional lifestyle, messing with deadly predators during the day, while spending his spare time blowing up his own property, recording epic country songs with equally awesome music videos, running for president, making public death threats to rival zoo owners, and being married to two men at the same time. Wait, so like, are both of these guys married to him separately but not to each other? Or is it more like a collective circle of marriage? I don't know. That's the magic of Joe Exotic, you see. He's a mystery wrapped in an enigma, shrouded in a bright polyester shirt. You never quite know what's what with this guy, and that's exactly as it should be. So Joe owns a ramshackle but increasingly lucrative big cat zoo, staffed by ex-criminals and meth addicts who live in trailers and get paid roughly enough money to prevent them starving to death. Holy shit, man, these guys remind me of the dudes shambling around my town centre on a Saturday night, only better looking. Anyway, using a combination of personal charisma, natural salesmanship, and a clear willingness to break the rules and operate outside the law, Joe builds up his zoo into a successful business, attracting thousands of visitors every month. He's got his own merchandise, travelling exhibitions, even his own online TV show. But his growing success draws the attention of a big cat conservationist named
Carol fucking Baskin.
Carol's on a one-woman mission to shut down the big cat trade in the US, believing it to be cruel and dangerous, which to be perfectly honest, it kind of is. She begins to make life increasingly difficult for Joe, who retaliates with public death threats, protests outside her sanctuary, and a campaign of intimidation and abuse. The feud gradually escalates into lawsuits, court cases, and even attempted murder, ultimately causing one side to lose everything. It's a compelling story all by itself, and a fascinating insight into what I guess is a pretty close-knit and secretive industry. But it's the collection of oddballs, criminals, cult leaders, playboys, and wannabe activists populating this show that makes it so addictive. Like Doc Anto, a new age hippie who owns a slightly more upmarket cat sanctuary, charging hundreds of dollars per ticket and even training animals for big Hollywood movies. On the surface, he seems more respectable than Joe, but then you start to see glimpses of his private life. He paints himself as a spiritual guru, maintains a harem of young women, and coerces new employees to have sex with him in order to curry favour. I mean, just look at the guy. Is it any wonder he's getting so much action? Or Jeff Lowe, a rich playboy that hosts wild cocaine-fueled parties in Las Vegas and uses tigers to entice beautiful women back to his hotel suite. Enthralled by his wealth and success, Joe brings Jeff in as a business partner, only to learn that the man has nothing but a trail of debts and failed business ventures to his name. Or Carol Baskin, who portrays herself as a well-intentioned conservationist concerned only with the welfare of animals, but then uncomfortable revelations about the disappearance of her millionaire husband begin to surface. The suggestion that she murdered him to inherit his fortune becomes one of the big driving forces behind Joe's campaign against her. And last but not least, Joe Exotic himself. The man is quite simply one of a kind, a walking contradiction that you simply can't take your eyes off. Flamboyantly gay, dressed like a Las Vegas magician, and wearing the kind of mullet that would make a 1980s wrestler jealous, he's also a gun-toting hardcore libertarian. He's a quick-talking salesman with a bizarre kind of charisma and a flair for showmanship, but beneath the facade, he's a jealous, insecure and vindictive man, constantly chasing success and approval and lashing out at anyone who stands in his way. As his feud with Carol turns into a costly legal battle, he's forced to bring in dodgy business partners to shore up his finances, creating tensions amongst his staff. In search of more fame and attention, he sets his sights on political office, mounting scattershot campaigns to be president and then governor, and neglecting his park, employees and animals in the process. The death of one of his husbands, combined with the loss of his court case, mounting debts, conflict with his business partners, and growing unrest amongst his staff, puts Joe into a spiral of depression and bitterness, causing him to focus his anger and frustration on
Carol fucking Baskin.
It even leads to him taking out a hit on her, with predictably disastrous consequences. In a lot of ways, it's a classic story of a driven but deeply flawed man chasing an impossible dream, neglecting what should have mattered most to him. A man whose willingness to break the rules to get ahead, and his obsession with nurturing grudges, ultimately brings about his downfall. Now, that's not to say the other people in this show get off lightly. Basically, everyone in Tiger King comes across as either weird, selfish, egotistical, manipulative, vain, sinister, or all of the above. Oddballs, convicts and outcasts from every possible walk of life, brought together by their shared passion for big cats. The point is, these are not people you'd want to have in your life for any length of time. But what's interesting about this show is that it balances out the playful, funny and ridiculous elements with moments that are genuinely dark and shocking. Like when a park employee loses an arm to a tiger attack in the middle of filming, or Joe himself gets set on by one of his own animals, or the moment when a security camera catches the reaction of a man when his co-worker commits suicide right in front of him. It's dark and poignant and scary all at once, and needless to say, it makes for pretty addictive viewing. But despite all the very human dramas and rivalries swirling around it, the documentary ends by reflecting on the plight of the animals at the centre of it all, and the sobering statistic that there are now more tigers living in captivity in the US than there are in the actual wild. Honestly, I can't recommend Tiger King enough. If you've got a Netflix subscription and a bit of time to kill, and let's be honest, who doesn't right now, then I heartily recommend you give it a go. You won't regret it. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.